If you ever want to stay on a man's mind without even trying, you got to stop chasing his attention and start commanding his respect. Because here's the truth. Men don't remember every woman they meet, but they never forget the woman who made them feel something real without begging for it. See, a man can see beauty every day. He scrolls past it, walks by it, lives around it. But what keeps him thinking about one particular woman is how she carries herself. When a woman knows her worth, when she's busy building her own world, when she don't flinch every time he goes quiet, that's when he starts wondering, man, what's she doing right now? You don't stay on his mind by trying harder. You stay there by being harder to replace. When you're focused, happy, and glowing in your lane, that man will feel your energy even when you're silent. He'll feel your absence like noise, because a confident woman doesn't need to prove anything. Her peace is the loudest statement she'll ever make. Let me tell you something. Confidence is the one thing that makes a man stop in his tracks. You can have beauty, charm, and style, but if you don't have confidence, it all fades. A confident woman walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere without even saying a word. It's not about arrogance. It's about knowing who you are and what you bring to the table. When you move like a woman who doesn't need validation, that energy hits different. You see, men can sense when a woman is uncertain about herself. They can feel when she's trying to impress, when she's performing, when she's begging to be noticed. But a confident woman, she doesn't need to do all that. She's just being. She's not worried about what he thinks. She's too focused on living her truth. Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet, powerful, and steady. It's in the way you smile at yourself in the mirror before you walk out the door. It's in the way you set boundaries and don't apologize for them. It's in the way you carry yourself when someone tries to test you and you respond with grace instead of anger. That's what sticks in a man's mind. That's what makes him think about you when you're not around. Because while everyone else is trying to impress him, you're just being real. That's rare, and rarity always gets remembered. A man can meet 100 women, but he won't forget the one who believed in herself, even when life tried to break her. The one who knew her worth when no one else did. The one who didn't need him to make her feel whole, because she already was. When you stand firm in who you are, you send a message, I don't chase, I attract, and that's powerful. You don't have to try to stay on his mind when your energy is that solid. He'll think about you because you represent something different. Peace, strength, certainty. The kind of woman he can't manipulate because she doesn't move from fear. The kind of woman he respects even if he doesn't fully understand her. Confidence also shows up in how you handle distance. When a man pulls away, a woman with low confidence panics. She starts texting more, worrying more, trying to fix things that don't need fixing. But a confident woman, she stays calm. She doesn't chase, she doesn't beg, she doesn't question her value. She understands that her worth isn't tied to his attention. She knows that if he's the right one, he'll come back. And if he's not, she'll still be fine. That's the type of woman that keeps a man thinking, damn, she's different. Because she's not desperate for validation, she validates herself. Confidence also makes you unpredictable in the best way. You're not doing what every other woman is doing. You're not playing games. You're just living your life. You're out there chasing your goals, taking care of yourself, smiling because you have purpose, not because someone gave you attention. That kind of energy lingers. It makes a man curious, makes him want to know what drives you, what makes you happy, what makes you glow. And when he sees that your light doesn't depend on him, that's when he truly starts to value you. A confident woman stays on his mind because she never tries to be someone else. She's not pretending, not adjusting her personality to fit what he likes. She's authentic, and that's unforgettable. Men are surrounded by people trying to impress them, but they remember the ones who made them feel grounded, who reminded them of something real. That's the power of confidence. It's not just seen, it's felt. It's energy that lingers long after you've walked away. And when you carry that kind of self-belief, you don't need to try to stay on his mind. You just do. Energy is something you can't fake. It's that invisible force that walks into the room before you even speak. When your energy is calm, secure, and positive, people feel it, especially men. You don't have to say much. You don't have to prove anything. Your presence alone says it all. Some women think staying on a man's mind is about trying harder, texting more, or doing extra to be noticed. But the truth is, it's your energy that keeps you unforgettable. You can't buy it, you can't copy it, and you can't fake it for long. It's who you are when no one's watching. When your energy comes from self-respect and inner peace, you become magnetic without effort. Men are drawn to women whose energy brings them peace, not chaos. A woman who doesn't react to every little thing, who doesn't compete for attention, who moves with quiet confidence. That's the one who lingers in his thoughts. Because in a world full of noise, peace stands out. He'll remember the one who didn't drain him, who didn't argue just to prove a point, who didn't need to be right all the time. He'll remember the one whose energy made him feel like home. When you stop trying to be loud and start letting your calmness speak for you, you shift from being seen to being felt. Energy is louder than words. You can say all the right things, but if your energy doesn't match, it won't matter. You can tell a man you're confident, but if your energy says insecurity, he'll feel it. You can act like you're fine, but if your energy says desperation, he'll sense it. Men are not always emotional talkers, but they feel deeply, and they feel energy more than anything else. So when you stay aligned, when you protect your peace, guard your emotions, and don't let negativity consume you, your energy becomes your superpower. It becomes the reason he can't stop thinking about you. The most attractive energy a woman can carry is that of certainty, knowing she's enough. That kind of energy doesn't ask for reassurance. It doesn't chase validation. It doesn't change just because someone didn't see her value. That's why your energy matters more than your looks, your style, or your words. You can wear the most beautiful dress, but if your energy says, I'm unsure of myself, it shows. On the other hand, you can walk in simple clothes, but if your energy says, I know who I am, you'll stand out every single time. Your energy also decides what kind of people you attract. When your energy is desperate, you'll draw people who feed off of that. When your energy is peaceful and self-assured, you'll draw people who respect that peace. That's why it's important to keep your spirit clean. Stop entertaining drama, gossip, negativity, or people who drain you. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's survival. When you take care of what's inside, what's outside automatically shines brighter. A man might not always understand why he keeps thinking about a certain woman, but deep down, it's because her energy left a mark on him. Maybe she laughed from her soul. Maybe she smiled with genuine warmth. Maybe she carried herself with grace even when life was testing her. That energy is unforgettable. It's not the perfume, not the makeup, not the clothes. It's the energy that told him, I'm good with or without you. That's what sticks. And that's how you stay on his mind, not by effort, not by chasing, but by letting your authentic energy do the work. When your vibe says peace, self-love, and confidence, he'll keep replaying it in his mind because that kind of energy is rare. You don't have to try to be memorable when your energy is already doing the talking for you. Silence is powerful, more powerful than most people realize. When you stop over-explaining, over-texting, or constantly trying to fill the space between you and a man, something interesting happens. He starts to feel your absence. He begins to notice the quiet, and that quiet starts to speak louder than any words ever could. See, when you're always the one reaching out, checking in, or trying to keep the connection alive, he gets comfortable. He stops wondering. He stops thinking. But when you step back, when you let silence do the talking, Suddenly, his mind has room to remember you. He starts asking himself questions. Where is she? Why isn't she texting me? Did I lose her attention? That curiosity is what keeps you on his mind. A man notices silence because it disrupts his rhythm. He's used to women chasing, worrying, and proving. When you don't do that, you stand out. You show him that you're not afraid of space, and that kind of emotional control is rare. Silence isn't about playing games. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need constant communication to feel secure. It's about trusting that what's meant for you won't need to be begged for. And when you carry that quiet confidence, your silence becomes your strength. He'll start to replay your last conversation, remember your tone, your laughter, the things you said, and it'll hit him differently now that you're not there to repeat it. Silence gives your absence a voice. It makes a man realize what life feels like without your presence. And that's when true reflection begins. When you're always available, he takes it for granted. When you step back, he starts to understand your value. He'll think about how peaceful it felt to be around you, how your words made sense, how your energy brought him calmness. And when that quiet replaces your voice, he'll realize how much it meant. Silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough not to overextend where you're not appreciated. It's emotional maturity. It's power wrapped in grace. Sometimes silence is the only way to remind someone of your worth. You can't teach respect through words. You teach it through boundaries. You teach it by not showing up where your presence isn't valued. When you stop explaining what you deserve and you simply remove yourself, you shift all the control back to you. That's when a man begins to realize he's losing something real. Because men don't reflect when things are easy. They reflect when they're quiet, when the noise fades, when they're left with their own thoughts. That's when he starts to remember your energy, your smile, the peace you brought, and how no one else quite matches that. And the best part is when your silence is genuine, not forced, not manipulative, it carries more power. Because it's not coming from pride, it's coming from peace. You're not punishing him, you're just protecting your heart. You're allowing space for what's real to show itself. If he truly values you, he'll come back with clarity. If he doesn't, then your silence saved you from further disappointment. Either way, you win. Because the woman who knows when to be quiet holds more control than the one who always feels the need to be heard. Men respect silence because it's discipline, it's restraint, it's confidence without noise. You don't have to beg to be noticed when your absence speaks for you. The right man will hear the silence, and instead of filling it with excuses, he'll fill it with effort. He'll come back not because you asked, but because he realized your silence was his wake-up call. Respect is the foundation of everything. You can't truly keep a man's attention, loyalty, or admiration without it. Respect lasts longer than attraction, outshines beauty, and holds more weight than charm. When a woman carries herself in a way that commands respect, she automatically becomes unforgettable. Men may be drawn to looks, but they stay because of how you make them feel about themselves and about you. When you respect yourself, it teaches him how to treat you. If you let him cross lines, he will. If you hold your boundaries firm, he learns what kind of woman he's dealing with. Respect tells him, you can't play with me, you can only grow with me. That's the kind of message that lingers in a man's mind long after you've walked away. A man remembers the woman who didn't let him take her for granted. He might not admit it, but deep down, he respects her more than anyone else. When you respect yourself, you don't beg for love. You don't tolerate confusion. And you don't compete for attention. You don't need to convince anyone to value you because your standards already demand it. And that's what sets you apart. You're not chasing after his attention. You're showing him that attention is earned, not given freely. That kind of strength stays with a man. He might date other women. He might meet new faces. but that woman who made him rise to meet her standards. She'll always stand out. Respect also means respecting your time, your emotions, and your peace. You don't let someone come and go as they please. You don't wait around hoping they'll change. You don't pour your energy into proving you're the one. You already know who you are, and that confidence makes you unforgettable. When a man sees that you won't tolerate being treated like an option, it shakes something inside him. It forces him to see your worth, even if he didn't at first. And here's the truth. Men think about the women they can't easily have. When you make him earn your presence, when you don't drop everything just because he calls, you remind him that you have a life goals and a sense of self beyond him. That mystery and discipline create respect, and respect keeps you on his mind. When you choose respect over attention, you build something real. Attention fades, it's temporary like a spark. But respect, that's the fire that keeps burning. A man can admire a woman's looks, but he only respects her when he sees her strength, her standards, and her ability to walk away from what doesn't serve her. When you stop reacting emotionally and start responding with calmness and dignity, he knows he can't control you. And that's when he starts valuing you differently. He might not say it out loud, but he feels it. Every time he meets someone new, he compares her to you, to your energy, your class, your restraint. Because the woman who demands respect without raising her voice is the one who stands out in his memory. Real respect comes from consistency. You can't demand it once and then forget your worth the next day. You earn it by living it. When you hold your boundaries, when you stay true to your values, when you walk away with grace instead of bitterness, that's power. That's the kind of behavior that turns into memory. A man may not remember every word you said, but he will always remember how you carried yourself. And when that image is tied to strength and self-respect, you'll stay on his mind without even trying. Because deep down, every man knows a woman who respects herself is a woman worth respecting. When a woman is focused on herself, her glow becomes undeniable. There's something magnetic about a woman who's busy building her own life instead of constantly waiting for someone to validate her. She's not sitting by the phone wondering why he hasn't called. She's too busy answering her own calling. That kind of focus changes everything. It changes your energy, your confidence, and even how people see you. When you start pouring into yourself, you create a version of you that's harder to forget. A man might meet dozens of women, but the one who inspires him, who moves with purpose and self-love, will always stand out. Because that kind of woman doesn't need him, she chooses him. And there's a big difference between need and choice. When you focus on yourself, you stop chasing things that aren't meant for you. You stop begging for closure, stop overthinking, stop comparing yourself to others. You start realizing that peace is more attractive than attention. A woman who's content, who loves her own company, who's passionate about her dreams. She has a glow that no makeup can create. It's the light that comes from self-fulfillment. And men feel that energy. They feel the difference between a woman who's desperate for affection and a woman who's full of purpose. The one who's focused on herself radiates confidence. She's not pressed about being liked. She's focused on being aligned. The more you invest in your own happiness, the more unforgettable you become. You start to move differently. You speak with certainty. You handle rejection with grace. You don't chase because you're already fulfilled. That kind of energy is irresistible. A man starts to wonder how you stay so balanced, how you stay so joyful without needing constant validation. It makes him curious. It makes him admire you. Because truthfully, a woman who's focused on herself doesn't have time to play games or lose herself in someone else's inconsistency. She's too busy growing. She's too busy evolving. And that evolution makes her unforgettable. Men are naturally drawn to women who inspire them, not drain them. When a man sees you hustling, taking care of your mind, body, and peace, he respects that. He may not say it out loud, but he notices the effort you put into yourself. He sees the discipline, the drive, the way you keep pushing forward no matter what life throws your way. That kind of focus doesn't just make you strong. It makes you radiant. It gives you an energy that can't be ignored. And when he's alone, thinking about the kind of woman he wants in his future, your image comes to mind. Not because you tried to be perfect, but because you kept choosing yourself every single time. Focusing on yourself also teaches you emotional control. You stop reacting to everything. You stop letting someone else's mood dictate yours. You start moving from peace instead of fear. And when you move like that, you automatically separate yourself from the crowd. That calm, self-assured energy makes a man feel like he has to step up to deserve you, because you've already proven that your world doesn't revolve around him. It revolves around purpose. That's rare, and rare things always stay remembered. A woman who's focused on herself doesn't chase love. She attracts it naturally. Her energy is too solid, her spirit too grounded, her vision too clear. And the best part, she doesn't fake it. Her happiness comes from within. And that inner glow, that joy of living for yourself, that peace that comes from growth, that's what keeps you in a man's thoughts long after the conversation ends. He'll think about you not because you tried to impress him, but because your light reminded him of what real strength looks like. Peace is the most powerful energy a woman can carry. It's the kind of presence that calms a room, that makes a man feel safe, grounded, and understood without you even having to say much. When a woman walks in peace, she's not easily shaken by what people say or do. She's not controlled by emotions or fear. She's mastered the art of staying centered, no matter what's happening around her. That's what makes her unforgettable. A peaceful woman doesn't chase chaos, she chooses calm. And when a man meets that kind of energy, he can't forget it, because peace is rare. Most people live in noise, but a peaceful woman lives in control. She doesn't argue, she doesn't beg, she doesn't overreact. She simply observes, understands, and responds with grace. A peaceful woman isn't weak, she's powerful in silence. She knows that she doesn't need to fight for every point or prove every emotion. She understands that her peace is her protection. When a man disrespects her, she doesn't lose her composure, she removes her presence. That's what makes her unforgettable. Her peace tells him, you can't disturb me because you don't control me. And that realization shakes him. A man may walk away from a loud woman, but he will always return in his mind to the peaceful one, the one who didn't lose herself in the storm. Because peace is the one thing that can't be faked. It comes from emotional maturity, from self-awareness, from learning when to speak and when to stay silent. When you protect your peace, you protect your value. You stop letting other people's actions dictate your mood. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You start responding differently, not out of anger, but from understanding. That kind of control is rare, and men notice it immediately. It's not about indifference, it's about inner balance. A peaceful woman has mastered herself. She knows her triggers, her worth, and her boundaries. She doesn't need validation because she's validated herself. That's what gives her that soft yet powerful glow, the kind of energy that draws people in without effort. Men think about peaceful women long after they're gone, because when they were around her, they felt something different. They felt comfort. They felt stability. They felt understood without judgment. She didn't yell. She didn't chase. She didn't control. She just was. That's rare. And when a man experiences that, he doesn't forget it. In a world full of drama, she was his calm. Even if he loses her, her energy stays with him. Her silence echoes. Her peace lingers. It becomes the standard he compares others to, because she made him feel something pure and grounding. Peace also means choosing your battles wisely. Not every comment deserves a reaction. Not every situation needs your energy. A peaceful woman doesn't allow herself to be drained by things she can't control. She knows that her energy is sacred, and she guards it fiercely. When a man sees that kind of discipline, it earns his respect because peace is strength. It takes strength to stay calm when you're being tested, to stay soft in a hard world, to walk away instead of argue. That kind of woman is unforgettable because she represents what everyone is searching for. Stability, serenity, and truth. When you carry peace, you become timeless. You don't age with stress, you glow with grace. You don't beg to be seen, your calmness demands attention. You don't chase love, love finds you because your peace feels like home. That's how you stay on his mind, not through noise, not through effort, but through the lasting memory of how it felt to be around you. Because at the end of the day, every man can forget a voice that shouted, but he will always remember the woman whose peace spoke louder than words.